crucial, really, because any change, including agility, requires support from the top down, the bottom up, and I would also argue even from the sides, because you'll have suppliers, you'll have a supplier ecosystem. We often think our suppliers will do what they're told, but actually they're often much bigger than we are, and they have their own culture and so on. It's very difficult to change an organization, so we really need to make sure that people on the ground really believe that we're serious and it's not just a new fad. And so the Boston Consulting Group did some research into this, and they discovered that executives in particular and senior leaders need to over communicate maybe 3 times before people on the ground will actually believe that we're actually serious about this change. But also, it's not just about words, it's also about actions. I've seen situations where over a 9-month period, at the start of the 9-month period, 70% of people believed that the executives knew what the big problems were and they were going to do something about it. At the end of that period, 70% of people still believed that the executives knew what the problems were, but only 20% believed that executives were doing anything about it. So executives and leaders have to be careful not to be just showing up at sprint reviews and well done, applauding, blah, 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 you're doing very well and so on. It's actually quite hard. Being an agile leader essentially means you need to fix problems. You need to simplify, declutter processes, systems, workflows that are impeding the team's ability to be agile. Situation in a big company a few years ago in the Middle East, and there were 35 teams, and I was asked to take on 2 additional teams. And so I had a look. They had their own Scrum Masters. I was a coach working across the organization, and I visited 2 of the teams. And one of the teams was working on a system that was based on Excel macros, Microsoft Excel. There's nothing wrong with Microsoft Excel. It's wonderful. If you're really skilled, you can write scripts and do wonderful things. But these people were doing serious work based on Excel, and those macros would be blown away every 5 or 6 weeks when the organization sent out another version of Microsoft Office. And also when it started, it might run or it might not run. It might stop after an hour, or it might stop after 24 hours, it might stop after 36 hours. And so they had to keep on running this thing, and eventually it might run. And so it wasn't just delaying this team by 1 month, it had a knock-on effect, delaying other teams who were depending on that team, because this team was struggling to get this to run. This was going on for 7 years. 7 years this was going on for. And I calculated the delay in total, the cumulative delay was 1 year. 1 year, and this is going on for 7 years. They escalated this as a problem, and somebody was metaphorically smoking a cigar in headquarters and put their legs up on the desk metaphorically and said, you were empowered, and you were empowered to fix this problem. They weren't empowered. So empowered is quite an abused term. Now, often we find we're empowered until we're not empowered, and this team was struggling for 7 years, and it was so bad that they just thought, this is just this is the way things are around here. If you're an agile leader, you kind of go around and say, like I was like an agile leader. I went around and said, what the hell is going on here? We need to fix this. And I was jumping up and down and we got it fixed. That's what you need to do as an agile leader.